Key criticisms. There seem to be three streams of criticism around teaching presence. Research revealing that students in online courses may not even expect significant teaching presence. A misunderstanding of teaching presence in relation to earlier models in distance education. Stronger definitions of the theoretical underpinning of the community inquiry, and by extension teaching presence and the other presences. According to Mupinga, Nora and Yor in 2006, there is not a strong indication that students need a personal connection with the instructor. Studies have shown that in Western education contexts, adult learners taking online courses may not be expecting significant teaching presence. I wonder though, are students considering teaching presence as the teacher posting on forums, doing Blackboard Collaborate sessions, etc., and not considering teaching presence within the design and facilitation aspects? Partly corroborating this research is research that shows teaching presence is low on the list of reasons learners do not continue online courses, and that values related to course design, course support and evaluation are typically higher than those of teaching presence. Although some research shows that people who take online courses have an expectation that there will be limited teaching presence, other studies in distance education show that students equate learning with high teaching presence and cognitive presence. Based on this thinking, perhaps more focus and energy should be spent on the overall course design, especially Anderson's interaction patterns, as Geneviève mentioned. Design likely has more effect than facilitation and direct instruction alone during a course. For example, presence in forum, responding to questions, audio visuals of the tutor. The design component of teaching presence already encompasses facilitation and direct instruction. Careful design can also overcome the simple fact that many students and teachers can't tell the difference between facilitation and direct instruction. Early thinking on teaching presence in distance education was called social presence and thought of as inferior to classroom communication, in part because of the lack of paralinguistic features in text-heavy contexts. Research, however, showed that students compensate for this in a variety of ways in their off-course text chats, postings and forums, thus showing evidence of self-direction. Indeed, much teaching presence goes on outside the formal online discussions. Further research needs to figure out how to capture this and relate it to existing research in teaching presence. This criticism was also a result of viewing the new online medium through the lens of the old classroom-based medium. The community of inquiry was the first to separate this. However, students and teachers still conflate the two. This may have confused many teachers when considering the concept of teacher presence versus teaching presence. The former being content expert-led instruction, the latter being anyone who takes up the role of the teacher in a specific instance. In fact, much research on teaching presence has looked at its more traditional manifestations, discussion forums, etc., thus leading to limited data on how else teaching present is present in courses. Research into the community of inquiry model has been criticised as not relating to the community of inquiry's central claim that it supports deep and meaningful learning, and that more research needs to focus on validating this claim. Furthermore, some criticism has been made about the theoretical underpinnings of the community of inquiry, and that more work needs to be done on describing it in relation to constructivism and socio-constructivism. Constructivism suggests an element of self-direction in learning, taking responsibility for learning and collaboration in the community. How is this element of self-direction supported in a course when we incorporate teaching presence in its development? Within the design, facilitation, or direction? How is their self-direction expected to manifest itself? Indeed, Given the studies that show limited student expectation of teaching presence in online courses, how can the teachers' facilitation strategies help with self-direction if the students don't even place value on that interaction in the first place? A couple of thoughts. Does this community of inquiry, and by extension teaching presence, fulfill the longing for a theoretical foundation for online learning? Also, considering our main theme of teaching presence beyond the grave, can constructivist approaches to course design facilitate self-direction to such an extent that they render the direct instruction and facilitation aspects of teaching presence irrelevant?